Alright, so we're back with my first gold ranked game. I finished my placement games and was ranked at 86, the gold 86. Heck of a start to a real actual game in the ranked portion of Bean Access. He had a nearly perfect attack on Ukraine and a decent attack on West Russia, and I'm playing Ruiner. And then he bought the typical buy, which is 3 artillery and 2 tanks to plan for the Ukraine strafe. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to buy a destroyer and 11 infantry, and I'm going to try to drain the main vein of Ukraine. I'm going to go in with everything that I have that can reach Ukraine. I'm going to try and see if I can get it down to one unit, and then attack with the remaining 2 guys from the transport. So I'm gonna have to pick individually on who dies when and make sure that I do it right. So let's give this a shot. Okay.
It almost figures. Touchdown. Oh, my God.
Wow. Okay, so that worked out. Wow, that was pretty cool. So what I did is I went in with everything, And then I got my first attack. I got them down to 2 tanks, and so I retreated. I killed off 2 infantry that weren't on the, that weren't related to the transport, and then I retreated with those troops to Bellow, and then I was forced. They force you to attack with the units that were on the transport, which was an infantry and an artillery, and that gave me an infantry and artillery against 2 tanks, and I got a hit. They got a hit back. I got a hit. They didn't get a hit. So I was able to take Ukraine with that attack, luckily, and come out alive. That's pretty cool. Thank you, Manix, for the suggestion, because that was freaking awesome. That's for sure. That was pretty freaking amazing. Wow, to say the least. Man, that's pretty incredible move. I would have never thought to split it like that, but sometimes it's always good to tap people that are more skilled than you, because it's one thing that I will say about this community. It's one of the better communities for a game to play. I mean, people are always so helpful and willing to, takes time. They do practice games with you, include you on custom games, just really be there with ideas and recommendations and things like that you might not necessarily always think of on your own. And as it would have it this time, it just was very perfect that it was right up the alley of what I would have never thought of that idea, that's for sure. So wow. Anyhow, that is probably one of the best returns I've ever gotten out of Ukraine in the whole time I've ever played this game, by trying that idea. And it actually makes me glad I did buy that destroyer now, because I'll get another use out of that battleship, and we'll see what happens, because I had a perfect C-Zone 7, so really don't know what else to say. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with how that went. But anyway, all right, we'll see you back for the next turn. All right, so this is my 6th game, my actual gold ranked game. So I had, it's already round 2 in UK. What ended up happening was I had a really good strafe, but also took Ukraine, which just happened in the previous part. But I wanted to catch everyone up, because I may actually continue going through this. I don't know that I'm going to win this game, because I've had really horrible rolls so far. But I'm going to try, I guess. That was one of the other things I wanted to try to do, was actually go without forfeiting, unless it was an absolute loss. What ended up happening is I had 2 tanks, 2 infantry, and 2 fighters here. That was a mistake. I should have, instead of stacking France when they didn't really have anything here, and I had a perfect 7, I should have just left this open and let them take France if they wanted, with just the one tank or infantry or whatever it may have been. Because had I done that when they stacked this, they had Russia ended up stacking it, and what did they ended up having is they had 7 infantry. The attack. No, that's me. Sorry. They had 5 infantry, 4 artilleries, an anti-aircraft gun, and 3 tanks, and then these 3 3 fighters. And so then I had 6 infantry here, 1 infantry here. I had 5 tanks in Bellow, and then I had 4 fighters, or 5 fighters, I guess, in, I had 2 down here and 3 up here, or 3 in Bellow. So I attacked Ukraine. I went and picked up the artillery from Libya and an infantry from Italy and attacked Ukraine because they took that back and had 1 artillery there. I blitzed my tank through. I moved 2 infantry into Egypt to block their path here, and then just tried to do my best here and get it. Had I put the tanks up here in Poland originally with the fighters, I would have had I don't know, probably 70+%. And it depended, because I estimated they would have had more, but they split it up. But the reason I did all that is because after I made those mistakes in terms of placement and not really being efficient, they went ahead and they got C-Zone 37. They had a cruiser and an aircraft carrier still sitting here. They bought another aircraft carrier and brought the destroyer down from 17 here. They bought another destroyer. They had their 2 fighters. What did they actually end up doing in that battle? They lost a sub and a cruiser. That's all they lost. So, yes, they had an incredibly strong 37. So I was like, I spent so much time staring at all of this. I forgot to record because I was staring at it for so long that I finally needed to move, that I forgot to put on the recorder because I had just been like so just over it. So I ended up attacking Onway with 5 infantry and a fighter. And I just had it just went horrible. Onway, I lost 4 infantry. So I had 1 left here. I attacked Yunnan with 2 infantry, 2 artillery, and a fighter, and I lost 3 in that battle as well. I left 1 up here because there were 5 infantry here. So I left 1 here because what I was thinking was, I didn't know what these guys were going to do. They moved down here, took Solomon Islands. I was like, what can I do to delay one of these guys? And the best thing that I could think of, I'm sure that there was a much better option, is park 4 guys down here. I ended up buying 5 subs because they have their bomber here, and they can get to 60 with their 2 fighters here. And so I was like, what can I do to avoid losing anything and delay it? So parking all this stuff here in 36 makes it so they have like a 5% chance of taking this out. Putting my sub could reach here. It keeps them from just going with a naked transport to Borneo with UK, so they can't do that, but they can go 4 infantry, 2 fighters here, but I went with a bomber, a fighter, and the destroyer from 61 because they didn't attack 61 as obviously because they did everything into 37. And I won that with my bomber and fighter living. So I put everything here, and then I bought 5 subs. I ran like a bunch of numbers and stuff. But the reason I left this one guy back was my thought was, depending on what UK ends up doing, that if I can pull it off, then I'm gonna go back up here, and I only brought down infantry. I left my tank and my artillery here, as I'm gonna bring my 2 transports back up to 62 with a battleship and attack 3 infantry and artillery and a tank, my battleship and maybe a fighter to break open this lane and just take off if the tank survives, so I can get all this money. I don't know if that's going to work, but at least. And then the problem is I was going to buy, I don't, like my thought was maybe being able to get an IC, but I think really my money's going to be spent on planes and ships. But the good thing that I have going for me right now is I even took a loss in this strafe, but I cleared most all of this out, and I bought 5 tanks, an artillery, and 2 infantry. And so now I can stack Caucasus, or I can, stack West Russia, or I'm going to be able to get West Russia and stack Caucasus, because they don't have anything here, and they don't really have anything in reach except for their fighters and such. So they have to make a decision now, and one of those decisions, by cutting off this lane, they can't go through the med, safely, because they just can't get through there. They would have to go down to 33 or to get out of the line of this, but I wouldn't chase them anyway. If they move this way, that's fine. Let them move that way. I don't know that they may invest more in the Indian Ocean. I've never really seen that happen in this situation, but I've never really been in this tight of a situation before that I can remember anyway. So I don't necessarily know what's going to happen, but I wanted to record it to maybe try to get this video back on track if I can. And if by some miracle I end up turning this game completely around and winning, it would be cool to have on film. But Russia has, I think they have 25 right now, 28. So they've got like 9 or 10 guys they can buy. I think, 9 total, 8 infantry and an artillery. So that's why I want to bring this back up. And it's not conventional, but I have enough here to kind of stall this out for a second. And I got to figure out what to do here, because they can get Philippines. Maybe I can set myself up to let them take Philippines and then be able to take it back next round. I'm not sure. Like, this is where the timing comes in, and all the math and running all the calculations and looking at all the different scenarios. But I definitely, my biggest mistake, and probably is the reason why I'm sitting in this position right now, was simply for the fact that when they had this almost perfect Ukraine. They had the 2 infantry, 1 artillery, 3 tanks, and an AA gun here, because they only lost 1 unit here. I took the infantry artillery from Italy and South Europe, and I brought it up here. I attacked with everything that could hit. In one roll, I got them down to 2 tanks, and then I retreated into Bello with everything that I had. I only lost 2 units, luckily. And then I still had the infantry artillery that was left on the transport that had to finish out the battle. And luckily they got 2 hits before the 2 tanks got their 2 hit backs. And so it was kind of a miracle roll. And so I was, as I was talking to a friend, they were pointing out that I really gonna have to pull some crazy stuff off with Germany. So that's what led me to doing the strafe. And it got down to, I had 2 tanks and 2 fighters against their 3 fighters, and I backed out because I wanted to not lose my fighters, and I just had a concern that these 3 guys were gonna roll 3 4s on one roll, and I would have just really been frustrated. But now I am in a little bit better position here because, granted they can buy 9 guys, but I've got 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 that they all can't land in West Russia and Caucasus. I mean, 14 of that can, so I'm going to be 6, 8, 9, 17. I'm not going to be far behind them, and then I'm going to be pushing right back up on them. So I will be able to comfortably stack somewhere with all that they have right now, because they don't have anything. And if I can take this out too, and then an infantry and a tank survive, so that 2, 3, so that they can't 1, 2, 3. Yeah, shoot. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna have to have a lot survive here to avoid this over here too. After I see what UK does, I'll have a better understanding of if it'll be worth it to try to do this or not. I think that's really an option that I just have to do, because I gotta relieve this. Anything that I can take away from them being able to freely move around and affect what little I have is, I think, what I gotta do. Even if it's just stacking here and then going after it, letting them land their plane fighters there and then going after it, or maybe just moving up here, taking this out, and then pushing through. That might actually be the better answer, is push through China here and see where that leads. So anyway, that's just a quick little, I guess, catch-up video. And then hopefully I'll remember to, I spent hours staring at this, so hopefully I won't forget to, after I finally decide to make the move, to hit record. So we're in Japan 2 of the game against Ruiner. I don't know, man. I'm not really sure what to do here. I got 63.8% odds on India. I am kind of stuck in certain areas. I am in an unusual spot, basically, and I am trying to figure out what best to do. And I'm having a little challenge with that idea. I don't know what to buy. I'm not sure what to buy. Yeah. I just don't, I don't know what to do, basically. And I am at a loss, so I think what I'm going to do at this point is I'm just going to go for India, hope for the best. Maybe buy a little bit more of a Navy fleet. And a couple planes. And go for Burma. And that's all really I can think of doing at this moment, and I'm pretty sure it's all wrong, so I don't know what to say. I have absolutely no plan, no idea what to do. I have India now, so I have at least I have a factory on the mainland. And maybe I switch to infantry and fighters, or infantry and planes only now. But let's see what happens. You guys keep me in your thoughts. No, I'm just kidding. All right. All right, so we are in the third round in Germany's turn. So let's take a look. U.S. bought one aircraft carrier, a destroyer, a transport, and a bomber. And then they took the Philippines, took Morocco, took Northwest Europe, went up into Manchuria, and then killed 2 submarines that I used. I had 3, but I lost 1 in the battle to kill the UK transport and destroyer. 2 UK transports and destroyer there. So, then on Russia's turn, they bought 4 infantry, 4 artillery, and they took Kiangsu, and that's all they did. So U.S. is most likely going to build a industrial complex here in Manchuria on their turn. Hopefully, I'm hoping that this battleship and destroyer survive, or at least the transports survive, so that I can take back the Philippines. I think it's 60-something% right now that with the 3 fighters, and with the 3 fighters, I think it's like 60%. I think with the aircraft carrier involved, it's 82% or 83%. So that's a concern. I need to take back France. I'm going to lightly attempt to take Northwest Europe. I'm going to blitz through West Russia. I'm going to stack everything that can reach into Caucasus, and I'm going to bring up these 2 fighters from Thailand, which should give me 70% odds of survival. I don't know if Russia may try to strafe it, but the reason I'm doing that is I want to be able to break out with a couple of tanks and start blitzing through some of these territories to get some of Japan's money back and also take away Russia's money, because they're producing 28. It's insane. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here, but so I'm going to buy 3 tanks, 3 artillery, and 5 infantry this round. And I'm also going to try to take Archangel as well. So I'm hoping that this all works out in my favor. It'd be super cool if it did. I've tried to take Archangel twice now and have not been successful. So that's been frustrating. Just doing this to make sure that I do it. And then all right, and then let's see. Yes. Make sure that everything that can reach is going there right now. Okay. That looks like all that I can do here for now. Let's see what happens here. Okay. Cool. think that is all I can do for moves. Looks like it. I think that is all. 12. Yes. All right, that took me a while to figure out. I'm glad that I didn't start the video before. Once I see what UK decides to do and what's living around here, then I'll have a better idea of what I can get away with for Japan. So I'll see you guys back here after UK's turn. This game is, so just as a bit of background, I guess, I never have, last season I was wood in allies and bronze in access, and I made it up to silver in both, but then I had a major power outage due to weather and dropped a bunch, and then I ended up just giving up caring about ranking. But this is like, that was my second season playing ranked, and so last season, if I ever got to a situation where I was anywhere near anything like this, where they originally had a crazy heavy KJF with, you know, ships down here in 35 for UK, and then they were coming in over here US, I usually just forfeited because I didn't think I could get any further. I just, if a game wasn't straightforward, I guess I just didn't really see a possibility of how to win. But I do see that in this game to some degree. I missed Japan's turn again, but it's what ends up happening, and I spend hours looking at this because I'm, not familiar with this, so I forgot to record. But basically what I did is I took out a destroyer and transport here with a sub and 2 fighters. I moved my fleet up here to 62, but moved my fighters onto Japan, and then I bought 3 infantry here. I took Persia with 1. I moved 2 fighters here to hold this, which I had 6 infantry, 2 artillery, and 6 tanks. Russia strafed strafed the Caucasus with well, they ended up losing 7 infantry, 6 artillery, so they retreated with 2 fighters and 2 artillery left. I still think I can take Moscow in 1 round, in round 5, and then I'm gonna probably switch to infantry and bombers to try and push this Atlantic fleet out and get down here and start cleaning up what I can, hopefully. UK on their turn, they bought an IC that they put here in Borneo, and they bought 3 destroyers. They didn't attack Europe, which actually really helped me a lot. Then US attacked this navy here with 2 fighters and a bomber. They lost their 2 fighters and a bomber, and I only lost a destroyer. So that's where we're at right now. They did also hit Caucasus for 4 damage. So in order to do this, I need to buy... I need to fix that because I need to put artillery here. I need to buy a bomber, 4 artillery, and then I'll buy 5 infantry. Okay, I'm back. So, sorry, I had to think about what needed to go into West Russia and what needed to go into what needed to be in Caucasus to have good odds on everything. But so yeah, the buy is going to be 5 infantry, 4 artillery, which will go in the Caucasus, a bomber, and then repairing the 4 damage to the Caucasus. And then I'm going to attack France, which will be my only attack, and then struggle through the rest. I'll do the odds and everything, and hopefully I'll remember to record this time. So the biggest thing I've struggled with during this game is feeling comfortable about my movement and things of that nature, because I have really kind of stressed myself out in this sense. About what to do when it comes to movement and just placement. And you know, I used to get really stressed out when there would be 3 ICs. US put an IC in Manchuria, and Philippines this past round. So my biggest thing is really to watch the odds here. Let's see. Or 8. Just being comfortable with how I move and where everything goes and stuff like that, because I'm running so thin with everything that I have. But I think this is really the best options that I have right now, and hopefully hopefully I can take Moscow on this next turn and have Japan live. So I guess we'll see. Just make sure. All right, I'll catch you guys. All right, we're back in after UK's move. They bought 2 transports, an artillery, a bomber, and an infantry, and they put the 2 transports, the bomber and the artillery, down here. So they're going to go back for India. They took Persia with a tank. They took Northwest Europe and Norway. And so I'm going to buy all infantry. I'm going to move my fighters down here since it looks like they're going to retreat out of Moscow. And gosh, so unique. Yeah. It's very unique. All right. All right, let's just finish this. Okay, come on. All right, well, I didn't get that, so I'll see you on Germany's turn. All right, so Germany 5. Russia got crazy insane dice. US took New Guinea. Russia somehow got on 35% odds of them taking Caucasus. They did it with a 28 IBC profit. Absolutely ridiculous. I just can't even believe it. Yeah. I don't even know what to say. So I'm going to take out Caucasus. I'm going to take out Moscow. I'm going to fly 3 fighters over, take out this tank. I don't know. Yeah. Honestly, don't know what to do. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get into Africa. I'm going to try and do as much as I can. Stock India with the fighters. Yeah. I'm going to buy 7 infantry, 3 artillery, and another bomber. Yep. Well, at least I got some good dice back, I guess. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, that's all she wrote for Germany, guys. Thanks for watching. Alright, so it's Japan round 5. UK bought an aircraft carrier, 2 fighters, which they put over here in Sea Zone 8, and an infantry, which I think they put here because they used it up here. They took Finland, France, and killed East Indies, but didn't take it yet. All I can really do is repair the 2 damage that they did to India, and then buy 7 infantry and take Persia. So take Persia with 1. And then yeah. Don't really think there's a lot else I can do right now. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I can do. I don't know what to do with this fleet in 62. I gotta move it, but I don't really know to where. Honestly, I mean, it's at risk no matter where I go. So maybe I use it as a BS blocker, I guess. I don't know. I'm not really certain what to do with that, but yeah. So that's all I'm going to do this round, and then I'll see you guys next round. All right. So I'm trying to think here. So they got the fighters and everything, Manchuria. I'm going to go 14 infantry, 3 artillery, and two tanks and a bomber. Okay. Now I don't want to push too far into Asia with a tank, just to lose the tank for one IPC for a round. It's not worth it. So, just triple, quadruple extracurricular activity here. Egypt, unlikely. That's okay. So I filled up Moscow, I filled out Caucasus. I got some tanks that can get down to India. I got another bomber. Got some guys in Italy. I don't think this survives this next round. Might have to buy a bomber here. Wouldn't even do any good. This is going to be a long game. All right, so I got 20 with Japan. It's Japan 6. I think I can hold Tokyo right now with everything that I got. Actually, let me do this. Yeah. With everything I got. So I'm going to get another fighter there. And I'm going to try to catch him slipping. And infantry and artillery here. want to try to catch him slipping slowly, like try to do a slow build that way. I'm going to bring this guy back, leave this open. That's what the board looks like now, ladies and gentlemen. All right, it's Germany 7. US added 2 more ICs, one in Thailand and one in East Indies. I'm going to take everything I can. I'm not going to take Kwang Tung because I cannot hold it, and I don't want US to get more income there, so it's not conducive to what I think is important. Probably going to lose this here. This turn. Take back these. And 15 infantry, an artillery, and a bomber. That worked out great. Worked out great. And there we have it. The board as it stands now. All right, we're in Japan round 7. UK bought 8 infantry, 1 artillery, and a fighter. And then they took Burma, Northwest Europe, Norway, and Yunnan, all without losing one thing. So they had a pretty great round. I have odds on India and Japan right now. I don't think they're even really bothering with Japan, but I only have 12 IPC for Japan at the moment. And I think Germany is going to lose their fleet here in a second. And I only have 69 IPCs this coming round. And never been to this point. And I'm kind of stuck. So I think, the only thing I can do is buy 4 infantry, try to take out Burma. Hope for the best, basically. This fleet keeps growing over here, and it's going to be a problem here soon if I don't just do something about it, and I'm not sure what to do there either, so I'm honestly just kind of stuck. Let's see. Really can't move much off of there. Just don't have the ability to do it. If I move anything, that'll just lead them to go attack it anyway, and I can't do that. It's a bummer, most all this stuff. I need to get this Manchuria thing handled. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it, but I don't know if I can yet. All right, so we're round 8, Germany. They bought more transports here in 36, so they got 4 U.S. transports. They're building more here. Yeah, U.S. just has a ton of money, and they've moved up into Anhui, and it has become a real problem here. So I'm running out of thoughts at this point, and may have to leave India again. I'm not sure. So I'm going to purchase 11 infantry for tanks and a bomber. And I'm going to take everything in range that I can and stack Sinkang, I think. Okay. I think I may have figured this out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whew. This is quite stressful. Would have been nice to have a tank in Africa. 2, 4, 6, and then 5. Japan 8. Same thing. 4 infantry. think that's all I can do. It's a wild game. Okay, it's Germany 9. This game just goes to show you how every move is important and paying attention to timing and placement is really necessary, because last Germany turn I moved all of my bombers up here to Karelia and mobilized one here in Moscow, and I did that because I had run the odds on what it would look like if he moved everything that he had from Manchuria, which was 5 infantry and another artillery, and then he only had 2 fighters here, and so I ran it as that. And I had odds, I had crazy odds, like 90%, or yeah, somewhere around there. But he decided to move one other fighter up here, which didn't change the odds much. It lowered it down to, if I intend to take the territory, which I will do, as long as I have good dice, obviously. So I leave one tank. I should still come away with my bombers if I have clean dice. And then I can land my bombers here in Kazakh. And then I can move these guys down here into Sync, move these guys over here to Kazakh to start dead zoning this, because what US did is they moved 12 guys up here, but they didn't add any more to Thailand. Instead, they moved them here and added them to East Indies. They pushed all of their fleet here into 36, and they moved a bunch of U.S. guys down here. U.S. bought transports, infantry, artilleries, but they didn't put anything to put on these 3 transports. So this was 21 IPCs that he could have spent elsewhere. He could have bought 2 tanks and put them here to help give him better odds here. He could have bought 2 fighters. He could have done a lot of different things with that. He could have bought, almost bought 2 bombers and put them here, and then put 2 of the guys up here, or to add more air there. Maybe it's just because it's getting later in the game. We were starting to play turns faster, so maybe that was it. I'm not certain. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to take France back. I'm going to go for Northwest Europe. I'm going to attempt to get Finland with just 2 infantry and see how that works out. I'm going to go for Ennui with everything here that can reach, and then there's the 5 bombers. And then I'm going to continue to add to India, and then bring the Italy guys over here as well. And hopefully that is strong enough to maybe, like, either he decides to forfeit, or either way, like, with all of that done, and this is no longer a problem, me being able to get Manchuria here in a round or 2, unless he tries to come up here, which is totally worthless for him to even try to get Manchuria back, I don't think he's ever going to get odds on India from this point on if I get Onway, because I can redirect pretty much everything I want down here. So I'm going to buy 15 infantry, 2 artillery, and a bomber. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm going to end up using 6 here, and so I want 7 more to go back, and then I 2 and 2, that's 11, and then that gives me 4 here, or 4 here. I'll probably put them actually in caucus. It's smarter because it's closer, but it gives me enough to fill all the spaces that I need to fill at the moment. And then I'll move 1 guy down here to, as a blocker. So here we go. Okay. All right, I think that's all I can do here. I'm gonna leave these guys in Italy so I can move down. Now. All right, let's see what happens here. Wait, just 1 second. Could use that to clear that. I don't want to. It's too valuable to. I can't risk losing a fighter. All right. Let's see what it says here. Likely strong. Okay. Let's just get this one over with first. Okay, I think that is everything I can do to try and be as strong as possible in this situation. Eight and 5 is 13. Yes. I think that is all. Okay, guys, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, I still have good odds. So we come to an end of the Ruiner game. He ultimately ended up forfeiting after I got on Wii, and then I used my fighters to clear out Manchuria to open it up for me. Not certain why he would have wanted to. I mean, I guess, yeah, I maybe he just wasn't looking, but I mean, going for this really doesn't do anything for him because I can still get to Manchuria, just not with as much, but I still have these 5 bombers, so I still could have taken Manchuria when it was all said and done. Maybe looking at that, he saw that it wasn't worth it. But, you know, when you look at this over here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 U.S. Factories, UK factory, and Borneo. I've never played a game where there's been so many factories in the Pacific, Indian Ocean / Pacific area. I've also never run a game like this where I've had Germany own a majority of the European and Asian mainland. Honestly, you can tell through after the third round, I thought this game was over and I wasn't going to win. You know, I am ahead now in defense profile or attack power. I should have looked at that more often throughout in the video to really see the dynamic change. They were ahead a majority of the time in IPC value, but when it came down to attack power, I never really was that far behind, or I never really was behind, actually. I started to lose a little bit here in the last couple of rounds. I think that was just because I started buying. I had bought a couple more bombers at the time, but round 1 and round 2 are the only times they really ever were leading in attack power and defense power, and then I kind of had it from there. Round 5 was the big round. This is a round where, if I remember right, I lost. I lost those tanks. I think I lost tanks at that point. Yeah, so I guess it just, you know, a couple of things I need to reflect on. I need to be, even when I'm frustrated, I need to be more vocal about what I'm doing and not let my frustrations kind of bleed into the video and keep me from really continuing to explain where I'm at, what I'm thinking. And then also I need to make sure to not think that it's over. Even when I said I was stuck a ton of times, but somehow I ended up maintaining some good momentum and coming away with the game. So just, you know, things that I need to learn how to do better are just, if I do feel frustrated, breathe a little bit more and then maybe walk away, come back, look at it from a different light, you know, and remind myself, like, what are the goals of that turn, and how can I maintain the lead in terms of attack power and things of that nature. Not necessarily from buying, but, you know, how can I take the smart battles? And you know, one of the bigger things in this game at the very end was setting myself up with all those bombers here in Moscow and moving them up to Karelia to anticipate that move for Anhui. I don't think he necessarily meant to do it. probably just getting later in the game, and this is all starting to get cluttered. That maybe it was a mistake that he didn't see all the bombers and then moved it in there. But my foresight into that, or forethought, whatever the term I guess is to use, my thought process in looking at that is what tipped the scale in this game. Because had I not taken that, I don't think that we would be at the end of the game. We would probably be going for several more rounds. But definitely one of my more tough games of my entire time playing. A good opponent. A lot of factories. In my opinion, could have probably been utilized differently or more efficiently. Definitely some mistakes and some buys here with the 3 transports and with nothing to go on. I think maybe that's where the mistake was, when he was just kind of moving things around. He probably meant to put these units over here for that buy instead of here. I'm not certain. It's hard to tell, and that's one of the bummer things that when you don't have chat. But anyway, happy to come away with the win. I'm in the middle of a couple other really tough games that I already see as losing games because I'm so far behind. But and I'll post those as well. I'm not just gonna post the wins. I'll post the losses too. So again, thanks for checking it out, and I'll catch you guys next.